Join me, Tracie Hinds, aka Nanner BaNanner, as I take you through one of the sweetest parts of junk journaling, assembling and sewing in signatures for your vintage 1920 Raggedy Ann and Andy journals. In this video, I'll share how I pick coordinating signature pages for a cohesive vintage look, tips for layout, balance, and theme cohesion, a step-by-step tutorial on how I sew my signatures into the journal cover. Whether you're new to junk journaling or deep in the Raggedy Ann series, this video is packed with inspiration and practical tips. Don't forget, the full Raggedy Ann and Andy digital kit is available as a free download for subscribers. Check the post on my YouTube community tab for the Ko-Fi link. And if you like this video, please subscribe so you don't miss any of my content. Like and share. So to start with, I wanted to show you the signature I have sewn in already. And I'll either trim these or add some beads to the bottom tails. But I always start off with a layered effect. I want to see 2 or 3 pages, not just where you see nothing behind the page. I want to be able to see layers. I think that makes it look really nice and textured. And it gives the person purchasing the journal just something that catches their eye right off the bat. So I used a doily. And then this is one of the background sheets from the free digital that you can download on Ko-Fi. A scrapbook paper that I folded up. So this is a 12 by 12 scrapbook sheet. I folded it up and glued the sides to make a pocket. This is the Raggedy Ann and Andy cross stitch pattern book sheet. This would be something you would print a diploma off on, but I thought with the blue, it coordinated really well with the theme. A sheet of coffee dyed paper, more scrapbook paper in the color theme, another background sheet from the digital kit, and there are several to choose from. You don't have to choose the ones I did. A sheet of music, and a sheet from one of the Raggedy Ann storybooks I have. Scrapbook paper, coloring book page, lesson plan sheet, storybook page, coffee dyed sheet of paper, scrapbook page. This is also a storybook page. I originally thought I might use it as an envelope sewn up, but I decided to leave it as a fold out. And then this is children's writing paper. I thought that went with the theme. And a printable that goes over the Raggedy Ann and Andy story that I shared in my kickoff video. And if anybody would like that, I will add that to my Ko-Fi page as a download as well. And then also a envelope that's sewn in, and then I just glue it shut. You can cut these tails off and not even have tails, or you can leave them and put beads on them. I haven't decided yet, so I leave them till I make that decision. And then this is the other side of those sheets of paper for the signature. So let's go ahead and get started with sewing a signature in. One of the things I do, you may have noticed I had a binder clip there on the edge of my journal. I'm just training my journals to stay closed right now. They're not done. I will put eyelets in the front and back cover and use binding trim or I may use the chunky yarn, I haven't decided, as a closure that I'll tie shut. But for now, just so they lay the way I want them to, I put a binder clip on, and that trains them to stay closed. As we add embellishments and ephemera, they are going to get chunkier. You can also use rubber bands, 3 rubber bands, and that trains them to want to stay shut as well, whatever you have. Okay, so the first thing I like to do is make sure my pages are lined up the way I want them to be. Again, I'm going for that staggered look in the beginning, so when they open that cover, they have a lot of interest to the eye. And then I just start lining my pages up. The ones that are the 8.5 by 11 size are easy. You just fold them over and they're the right size. There are some I had to cut down, and I just cut them down to 8.5 by 11 before folding them. So right now I'm just trying to get them lined up perfectly before I sew them in. I do want to mention, you know, the price tag is in a really unfortunate spot on this paper, but I will put a fussy cut over that or a cluster and you will not see that. And that's sometimes what you have to do on the pages that you pick out. There might be a part that it's not your favorite, but there's always options to work around things. So here's an example of where this page is not 8.5 by 11. It's from a storybook, a little golden book. It's shorter. So I just center it. You don't have to. You could put it at the bottom, but I choose to center it. And every so often, if it starts feeling like I'm losing control of my paper stack, I'll stop, close it back up, and then open it and start doing the page stacking again. Something else to keep in mind as you stack pages, these pages in the center are getting pushed out ever so slightly. So you may have to cut them, instead of it being 8.5 by 11, you may have to start cutting your pages 8.5 by 10 3/4, something like that, to make sure they're not popping out of your signature and having a lot of overhangs. Unless that's the look you're going for. You may like that look, and there's nothing wrong with that either. I know a lot of people think this is the trickiest part of making a journal. That's why I would recommend, if you're new to journal making, to start off with one signature journals until you feel confident in getting them sewn in and feel confident with the results you get each time you do it. And then you can go from there. Okay. Now let's place this in the journal. And I use binder clips to hold my pages into place. That way they're not able to move and shift around. Now's the time to take a little extra care to make sure this is in your journal the way you want it. Because once it's sewn in, you can always clip the strings and try again. Nothing is unfixable, but it's better if you don't have to. One time sewing it in and then being done is much more enjoyable than having to do it multiple times, that's for sure. Okay, so then you're going to take an awl, and you can get these little awl kits with the waxed thread and needles on Amazon. You can also, if you want to just try and use what you have, if you have a sharp needle that's big, it won't have the handle to protect the palm of your hand, but you could use that to go through. And you can use the thin crochet thread that you use to make doilies. You could use that. You could use embroidery floss. Again, I'm a real pusher of use what you have, and you'll be surprised you start accumulating before you know it. So I like to put a hole in the center and then one on each end about 1 inch down from the top and bottom. When I put these together, I made sure the signature was in right side up, not upside down. That's something you always want to be thinking about when you're putting these in, because I've seen that happen. So we're going to go ahead and push in our awl. You could see where having that handle really saves the palm of your hand. And I like to really twist and turn it around. That way the hole is very well defined. I don't know if you're able to see the light through the hole, but I shouldn't have any problem getting my needle through there. I do have a wide needle, so it makes it a little bit less easy, but something else to keep in mind is be aware of where your hands are on the other side when you're pushing through, so you don't accidentally poke the awl, because it is a sharp tool, through your finger. And we'll do this one. You can see where you want to ideally not have to do this more than once, because once you put the holes in, they are visible. On your thread, you're going to go 3 times the length of the book. So 1, 2, 3. That'll give you enough thread that you've got enough if you want to add beads, but it gives you plenty of thread to sew this in without having any difficulty. Thread your needle, and you're going to push it through. Like I said, by putting that hole in first, it just gives you a whole lot of more control in getting that through. You can either tape this to the edge of the journal, binder clip it, but you want to leave your tail. And I usually just hold it down, make sure I've got a long enough tail in case I'm putting beads on. We will adjust it. And then you come back here, find your hole, and push it through. So I've went sideways at some point. And this is where I just take my time, I lift the pages up, and I start looking for the hole. Let's see, where is the hole at? Okay, we're in. This can get tricky. My first one, of course, I did off camera, went in just fine. I recommend just trying to do a couple pages at a time. Don't let it frustrate you. And then put it through the envelope. You will see that the ones coming up from the back side of the journal are always a little more trickier to get in than the ones going down. So this one will be a whole lot easier to get through. That's the direction that the awl was making the hole. And it would be easier if I didn't have such a large eye on my needle. Okay, one of the things to be aware of and try not to do is split your threads. You don't have a whole lot of control over that, in my opinion, when you're doing this. But all right. Okay, we're in. And sometimes that's what you have to do too, is take the needle out, try again until you get it to go through. And try to put it straight in. That's the other thing. Because everything is lined up from where you have added the clips. I am going to have to take the clips off to get this in, but now that I've already got most of this sewed in, I'll be fine. It's not going to let the signature shift around too much. Okay. Let's find where I'm at. See what my issue is here. Okay, I don't know if you can see, so I'm right to that page. I just need to find my hole. And push it through. And do that all the way through. Just, I grabbed a couple pages, pushed it through. Grab a couple pages, push it through. Hopefully you're seeing this, and it's probably not a bad thing that I had a little bit of trouble getting it through. So if you have the same thing happen to you, you realize this is a normal thing that can happen, and you just have to work at feeding it through. All right, now I'm gonna make sure my strings are the same size. You're gonna tie a double knot, one, and then go the opposite direction to lock it in. And then Go ahead and take your binder clips off and see your handiwork. See how you did. So our signature is in. This is not coming out. It's straight. I can see that it's perfectly straight down the back. I like to go through, make sure there's no surprises. Now's the time. If I'm going to have to redo it, I'm going to redo it. And here's where on the other one I went ahead and glued this shut, because in my book I'm going to cut this edge open and stuff some ephemera in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Takes very little glue. This is the PVA glue I like to use. This is though where you would decide if you're going to go ahead and glue it shut. Some people like their threads to stick up and over the top. I like mine at the bottom. Or some people cut them off and you don't see them at all. All right, there you go. All right, guys, and I'm going to put my binder clip on to train this to stay shut. We got our signatures in, starting I'll probably release another video this weekend starting our embellishments, and then hoping to every day next week put a video out with another piece of ephemera embellishments that we can put inside our journals to decorate them, and then wrap up these one signature monthly journals on the weekend next week, and move on to the little golden book Raggedy Ann journals, and we'll do those together as well. All right, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe and share with anyone you think that might like to watch it. Keep it cute, keep it crafty, and keep making something out of nothing. Bye!